Opening statements today in a Duluth murder trial following a deadly shooting back in the summer.
25-year-old Brandon Williams Gillard of Duluth pleaded not guilty to 3 felony charges, including second-degree aiding and abetting murder.
Northern News Now's Madison Green was in the courtroom today for opening statements. Madison, what's each side saying?
Dan, Laura, today began with final jury selection of 6 men and 8 women being seated to serve for this trial. Then opening statements began. St. Louis County Attorney Victoria Wanta began by telling the jury 19-year-old Paris Allen was visiting his mother and friends from California when he was shot and killed in Lincoln Park in early August. She explained the shooting that took place in front of Allen's mother's house was a result of a year-long conflict between friend groups, which Allen had no part in. Wanta urged the jury to pay attention to the bullets found at the scene and the ones found in William Gillard's home. Next, the defense highlighted how complicated the case is, how many people are involved, and possible facts missing in the state's case. She emphasized that investigators found it was the other man in the car with Williams Gillard who actually shot the gun, and there is no evidence of Williams Gillard even holding a gun. After opening statements, body cam footage of the incident was played for the jury, showing the vantage point of the first officer who arrived on scene. The prosecution also called its first witnesses. Paris Allen's father was one of them, and he described his son as a good, tough kid, and that he did not see it ending this way for Paris. We'll continue following the trial and bring you updates throughout.